Here in the East Midlands, the flags are waving around the centre circle and the teams are just amassing in the tunnel down beneath us. We're sat at the back of the West stand here in this bowl of a stadium. All one tier all around, but it's a very impressive stadium. And Leicester City are looking to impress all the way throughout this season. How long can they maintain this terrific run of results? 7 league wins in a row, just one defeat that did come here against Hull City back in September, but Sunderland will come here looking to make amends after their back-to-back defeats to Middlesbrough and Stoke. Although the Middlesbrough game, you could argue, having had a man sent off, it did put them under pressure a wee bit. Before that, they'd beaten Sheffield Wednesday and Watford without conceding. Harrogate 0, Mansfield 1 down in League 2. Mansfield, the only unbeaten side in League 2. 5 wins and 8 draws, and they lead through Lewis Brunt. I saw Mansfield the other week, Dean Ashton at Notts County. Very impressive indeed under Nigel Clough. I think this could finally be the year where Mansfield are in properly in the shake-up for automatic promotion.
Well, they've threatened it, haven't they? They've threatened it, yet to get over the line there.
Yep. Players are out. Keith Stroud, our referee. You can hear the hunting horn, the traditional sound to accompany the players' arrival here at the King Power Stadium. Both teams in their traditional first choice colours. Leicester in all blue. Sunderland will be in the red and white striped shirts, the red socks and the black shorts. I'm always impressed that that bugle player can hit that very high note right at the end. Very impressive. Accrington Stanley take an impressive 2-0 lead at AFC Wimbledon. And Tommy Lee has the second goal for Stanley. And the handshakes begin. Quick reminder of the lineups. Leicester have Hermansen in goal, Ricardo, Fass, Vestergaard and Justin in a back four. Cassidy, Winks and Dewsbury Hall in midfield. No Ndidi out injured. And Fatawu, Iheanacho, Mavididi up front. For Sunderland, Patterson in goal, Huggins, Ballard, O'Nien and Hume in their back four. Neal, Ekwa, Roberts, Bellingham and Clark in midfield. Burstow in attack. Colchester equalise at Grimsby almost as soon as they've gone behind. Joseph Taylor gets them level, and Charlton lead at Lincoln up in League One. Lincoln, another team without a manager at the moment. Tom Shaw taking temporary charge after Mark Kennedy lost his position. Alfie May has scored the goal, scored on Saturday as well, 2-2 for Alfie May. Plenty of other football going on tonight. Adrian's taking you around the grounds, although Sam Matterpace and Scott Minto providing you with full commentary on Sevilla Arsenal, but updates from the other Champions League tie at Old Trafford, where I'm sure there's a very poignant atmosphere with thoughts turning to the late great Sir Bobby Charlton. A wreath has been left on his seat in the director's box at Old Trafford. And here at the King Power, all players are now amassing around the centre circle to pay tribute to Bobby Charlton, but also there will be a tribute to those who lost their lives in a helicopter crash which happened 5 years ago this coming Friday.
During these 66 minutes of tonight's game, please join us in a minute of applause as we join the football world in paying tribute to one of the game's greatest icons. This Friday, 27th of October, will mark 5 years since a tragic evening in which 5 cherished members of the Leicester City family were lost in a helicopter accident outside King Power Stadium. Our late chairman, Drew Bishai, was a man who made us all believe that anything is possible. With his passing, Drew Bishai bestowed a precious legacy upon us all, one that everyone in the club will protect and honour for generations to come. We also remember and pay loving tribute to the lives of pilots Eric Swapper and Isabella Lekovitz, and staff members Rick Sala, Sukanai and Calvin Campaign. Together, they are always in our hearts. We now invite supporters of both teams to pay tribute to those we lost with a moment's applause which will end on the referee's whistle.
Message on the huge screen at either end, always in our hearts, with images of Kunvichai and the other 4 individuals who were so sadly lost to us in that helicopter crash just outside the King Power Stadium almost 5 years ago. And Sir Bobby Charlton remembered as well, as you heard from the man on the public address system here at the King Power Stadium. So, your home of the EFL, bringing you live Championship football this Tuesday night as Cardiff go 2-0 up at Huddersfield through Dimitrios Gutas. We're underway here at the King Power. Sunderland in those red and white stripes with the black shorts and red socks are kicking towards the south stand, away to our right-hand side. And straight away, Mason Burstow, the number 11 for Sunderland's, won a free kick off Yannick Vestergaard, who pushed him as he forced his way down the left-hand side of the penalty area. So Sunderland have got a free kick almost at the left-hand corner of the penalty box, just a shade towards the pylon from that point. But a very dangerous position here in the first minute, Dean Ashton.
Yeah, early tactic for Sunderland. Hume just playing that ball over the top for Burstow to try and test Vestergaard for pace. And he outdid him, clipped his heels, and the free kick's there.
Patrick Roberts will take the resulting free kick, left-footed delivery into the box, going to try and keep it away from the Leicester goalkeeper Hermansen. Ticking round towards a minute gone here. Roberts delivers the free kick into the area, drops on the 6-yard line. Nobody gets a proper touch on it, and it gets out to the midway point of the half, but it's retrieved for Sunderland on this near side. It's Dan Neal, just skips away from Dewsbury Hall, plays it infield to Pierre Ekwa, just in front of the centre circle. Scored some terrific goals already this season, Pierre Ekwa. He scored a thunderbolt against Southampton in a really big win that Sunderland got at the Stadium of Light, live on Talksport 2 a little earlier in the season. Goals going in elsewhere. Wycombe 0, Bolton 1. Paris Macoma puts Bolton ahead. And Leyton Orient lead at Northampton in League 1. Rob Hunt puts Orient ahead at Sixfields. Wrexham leads Sutton by a 1-0 through Paul Mullin at the racecourse. Leicester get the ball for the first time this evening with nearly 2 minutes on the watch, and it's worked back by Wout Faes to Mads Hermansen, who looks for Faes again with his shock of curly hair, instantly recognisable. Looking for Ian Atcho on halfway, but he was watched well by Daniel Ballard, who's fit to play for Sunderland tonight. And Sunderland have won a throw on this near side, which hasn't gone down well with the locals. Try Hume takes the throw in quickly and gives it to Luke O'Nien. Poor crossfield ball from Luke O'Nien, straight at Fatowu, who can bring the ball forward for Leicester City. Skips past Ekwa into the Sunderland half, moving across from right to left. Just lays it off there for Ricardo, who looks like he's playing on the left-hand side of the defence with Justin on the right. We'll see how that develops, Dean Ashton. 0-0.
But he's not really playing on the left because he's gone into midfield, hasn't he? As soon as Leicester have the ball, I guess without the ball, he'll probably drop back into that left-back position. And Justin will look to probably get forward on the right-hand side as and when he can, but bodes well so far. Both teams wanting the ball.
And Sunderland have it again down the left-hand side with Jack Clark, who's had such a terrific start to this season. Ekwa looks to float a ball diagonally left to right to try and pick out Roberts. An important touch from Ricardo just to keep it away. Oh no, he didn't get a touch. He's been given us a Leicester City throw in their left-back position. Look for all the world that he got a touch to that, Ricardo.
I wonder if Justin playing on the right-hand side is because of Jack Clark. He is that good of a player that maybe he feels like Justin will be better, maybe an extra little bit of pace than Ricardo Pereira, possibly.
See how that develops. Meanwhile, Mason Burstow tries to flick the ball on, but it just rolls through to Mads Hermansen, the Leicester goalkeeper. Reading 0, Fleetwood 1. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff in League 1, and Fleetwood are ahead through Boston Lawal. And Port Vale 0, Peterborough 1. Ephraim Mason-Clark makes it 2-2. He gives the Posh the lead at Vale Park. 0-0 here at the King Power Stadium on your home of the EFL. Talksport 2. Sunderland in possession on the halfway line, tight to this near touchline. The dugouts are right beneath us here in our commentary position. The north stand to our left, the south to our right. And both Tony Mowbray and Enzo Maresca, arms folded at the front of their respective dotted line technical areas. Blackpool 1, Cheltenham 0. Shane Lavery for Blackpool, and Barrow have a second at Forest Green. Dominic Telford, who does like to score goals at that level, he's got the second for the Cumbrians at the New Lawn.
They're playing a very, very high line. Sorry, Des. They're playing an incredibly high line, Sunderland. When Leicester have the ball, they are right on halfway. The deepest defender is on halfway. If you're Leicester, surely it has to be a late midfield run to break that trap.
They are certainly approaching this game, Sunderland, very differently to the Preston side that I saw come here 2 or 3 weeks ago. Huggins at left back for Sunderland tonight heads the ball out of play to keep it away from Fatou on that right-hand side, but Fatou is making some real good jinking runs to try and make space to receive a throw. It's gone in field to Kelechi Iheanacho, drives up to the edge of the area, but Sunderland win the ball back, and Dan Neil strides towards halfway, fires it into the feet of Patrick Roberts, just over halfway on this near side of the Sunderland right. Takes an awkward touch, and that allows Ricardo just enough time to get in front of Roberts, get himself between man and ball, and win it back for Leicester, 0-0.
Yeah, it was just a loose touch from Roberts. It was poor play, actually. Would have been quite easy just to flick that in towards Burstow. Poor touch, and Ricardo did well just to come away with the ball. But you're right, very different to the way a lot of teams have set up here at the King Power, in the way that Sunderland have set up. Maybe they're saying, look, we can cope with the pace of Iheanacho down the middle, and then look to maybe double up with the wide players as and when they can. But that middle part of the pitch, they're going to press really high and leave all that space in behind.
That's the former Norwich and West Ham striker Dean Ashton. You can hear alongside me Ian Danta. You can also hear the Sunderland fans in the northeast corner opposite us making plenty of noise in these early stages. A good 3,000 or so have made the trip down from Wearside, and they'll be encouraged by the way that Sunderland have started this game. 0-0, 6 gone. Patrick Roberts combines with Dan Neil, sets 09 away on the right-hand side, crosses to the far post. Jack Clark drives it straight at Hermansen, comes back to Jack Clark, but he couldn't control it, and Leicester will clear, and Sunderland's top scorer has the first shot in anger tonight, 0-0.
Brilliant bit of one-touch play there, wasn't it, from Sunderland? Lovely little play into midfield, 09 from the right-hand side of centre-back.
And here's Dan Neil sizing up a shot from 25 yards, snatches at it, left-footed, and it goes wide. But lots of encouragement for those travelling supporters yet again, 0-0.
Just going back to that chance, 09 from the right-hand sided centre-back position, overlapping on that right-hand side where Ricardo wasn't in his natural position, more in field. 09 saw the gap, went down, played a great ball in first time, and I just think Jack Clark there, for someone who is the top scorer, a little bit more finesse needed. He just whacked it at the goalkeeper.
Bellingham in central midfield loses out to Harry Winks, and Winks midway point of his own half, lovely ball to release Dewsbury Hall over halfway inside left channel for Leicester as they come streaming forward in all blue. Dewsbury Hall rolls it to the right hand side, Fatou running onto it, Huggins goes out to engage him, and Fatou will just touch it inside for Harry Winks, 30 yards out, tries to lift it into the box, but 09 very calmly chests it into the path of Ekwa. He lobbed it downfield, but Sunderland for the first time tonight had everybody inside their own half, and the ball went back to Hermansen, 0-0.
They did, but it was a good break by Leicester when Keenan Dewsbury Hall gets into that inside left position. These Leicester supporters can sense it. He's so creative. Just a couple of poor runs actually from Iheanacho and Mavididi that actually just meant he had the ball on his own without an option. And really, if those runs were better, he will find you with a pass.
In the Championship, Millwall 1, Blackburn 1. Joe Rankin Costello scored on Saturday, scores again tonight to equalise for Blackburn at the Den. Barnsley 1, Shrewsbury 0 in League 1. Just one defeat in 6 for the Tykes, and Herbie Kane, who scored a cracker on Saturday, scores from the penalty spot tonight. MK Dons 1, Bradford 1. Equaliser for Alex Gilead of Bradford. Wigan lead Oxford by a goal to 0. Oxford, remember, starting the night in second place in the table. And Notts County 1, Newport 0 down in League 2. Dan Crowley on target for the Magpies. Here at the King Power Stadium, we played 9 minutes on your home of the EFL Talksport 2. And there's been a really good tempo to this game. Leicester 0, Sunderland 0.
Well, it has, because both teams want to get the ball down and play. Sunderland aren't just going to try and lump it forward towards Burstow. They're going to try and play through midfield. and both teams will look to press and press high when the opposition have it. Could lead to mistakes.
Well, the ball just ricocheted away from Cesare Casadei, but out of play for a Leicester throw on the far side of the field from us, on the east stand side. And it's going to be James Justin to throw it down the right hand side, looking to get Iheanacho away. Looked like he might have shoved Ballard to the ground, but Ballard got to his feet quickly and put the ball back out for another throw to Leicester, but closer to the corner flag this time on the Leicester right wing. 0-0 the score. 10 minutes gone now on Talksport 2. Going to be taken by Justin, looking for Iheanacho, controls it well, down by the byline, right-hand side of the area. Looks for Justin again, but this time Sunderland win the throw in their own left-back position and will try and get the ball clear. 14 points behind Leicester going into tonight, but they're only 3 points clear, Sunderland, as we went into tonight's fixtures of Blackburn, who are down in 15th.
It's just ludicrous.
That's the Championship, isn't it? That's what this division's all about. Just can't relax for a moment. And that's what Enzo Maresca's been saying about Leicester. They might be top of the tree and looking for all the world like champions-elect, but they can't relax. They've won the ball back here. Dewsbury Hall sets Mavididi away. Down the left-hand side of the box, tries to pull it across the face of goal. 09 blocks it behind for the first corner of the game, which goes to Leicester City at the North Stand end, 0-0.
I think that's going to be a case for the whole game. Both teams might be vulnerable when they're trying to play out.
Short corner. Dewsbury Hall tries to whip it in from this near side of the left, and it comes off Roberts for a second corner in quick succession to Leicester City. Gillingham lead at Swindon. Haven't won since Neil Harris was dismissed, but they lead through Conor Mahoney at the county ground. Now Dewsbury Hall's not going to have a short corner option here. He's going to send this corner in, left-footed outswinger at the North Stand end, onto the 6-yard line. Brilliant header. James Justin up from the back with a free header at the near post, firmly planted it past the goalkeeper Patterson, and it's only taken Leicester, 12 minutes to hit the front against the forward-thinking Sunderland side, but you just can't keep this Leicester side down. They power in front through a power header from James Justin. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
And what a header. Didn't he mean this, James Justin? He's unmarked, he goes towards that near post, and Bellingham, he just does not see, he doesn't check his shoulder enough. He's too switched off not to realise that Justin has got away from his marker, 09, and he just goes in. I tell you what, he gets up so early, Justin. He's way ahead and way above Bellingham by the time he's realised, and what a powerful header. Nothing that Patterson could do. That flash past him.
Former Luton Town defender scored against Luton on his debut for Leicester City. An unlikely goal scorer, but Leicester once again are in amongst the goals. Only once have they failed to score this season. So Sunderland on the attack, trying to get themselves level. Here's Patrick Roberts getting to the byline, and he wins a corner for the visitors this time at the South Stand end. 1-0 to Leicester.
I mean, Tony Mowbray and his coaching staff will be fuming. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter how old you are as a squad and as players there. If you switch off, just poor.
Short corner. Roberts tried to feed it into the area. It's blocked out only as far as Dan Neil. Neil looking for Bellingham down the right-hand side of the Leicester box. He's got support on this near side, Clark, and then it's touchdown for Patrick Roberts. Quick feet to get away for the moment from Mavididi. Dan Neil tries to nutmeg Harry Winks. You're doing well if you're nutmegging England international. Winks wasn't buying it, and he won it back and gives it back to his goalkeeper. Doncaster 0, Salford 2. Another for Matt Smith of Salford as they go 2 clear in South Yorkshire. Barnsley 2 up on Shrewsbury. Callum Stiles, with a second for Barnsley. Leicester retrieving possession deep inside their own half with Wout Faes, who gives it back to Mads Hermansen. But his ball intended for Dewsbury Hall goes out of play, but it is applauded. Nevertheless, that attempted pass by his manager Enzo Maresca. So now just a bit of calm descends on the King Power as people just take in what's been going on in that first 12-13 minutes, with Leicester hitting the front after Sunderland were very, very swift on the offensive in the early stages. Bellingham's just won a free kick. He was clipped inside the centre circle, and he takes the free kick short to Niall Huggins on the far side, the Sunderland left. Gives it back to Joe Bellingham. Ekwa looks to slide it through to Burstow. Heavy touch from him. That allowed Ricardo to get it half clear, but it ricocheted into the path of Dan Neil. And now it's been worked to Roberts on the Sunderland right, approaching the corner of the penalty area. He's got support on the outside from Try Hume. Hume has it now. Can he dig out across? He can. It's very deep, but Clark might try and keep it in, and he actually forced the defender coming back, Fatawu, to head it behind for a Sunderland corner away to our right-hand side. 1-0 Leicester.
Well, they've responded well, haven't they, Sunderland, to going in goal behind. It's now a second corner from the opposite side.
And it's taken short to Dan Neil. Left-hand corner. Whips it in. Good whip on it, and it just drops beyond the far post. Ballard was sliding in beyond the far post and couldn't connect. But that was a very dangerous ball, swept in by Dan Neil, back in the side tonight after suspension. But it ends up merely being a Leicester City goal kick. Quarter of an hour gone on Talksport 2. They lead 1-0, Leicester.
That can't, I'm sorry, that cannot go out without a Sunderland player touching it. It is such a good ball from Neil that's fed in, and not one player, not one Sunderland player has got across the goalkeeper. They're all waiting beyond the far post and have allowed that to go out and play the opposite side. It can't. It was such a good ball.
Carlisle United 0, Burton Albion 1 in League One. Mark Helm for the Brewers. What a run they're on at the minute. Burton had a pretty tricky start to the season, but 4 straight wins and 8 unbeaten under Dino Mamria. Very impressive Burton Albion. 16 minutes gone here at the King Power. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0. James Justin with a firm header just after the 10-minute mark, putting the Foxes in front. A long ball upfield looking for Cesare Casadei, on loan from Leicester City, but his header ricochets away and back to the Sunderland backline, and Try Hume squares the ball in field for Dan Ballard. He was just being closed down by Ian Acho. Huggins plays the ball into the feet of Bellingham. Bellingham dispossessed well by Vestergaard, who was stepping forward. Now Mavididi picks it up for Leicester. Left-hand side of the box, drives it goals, touched onto the post by the boot of Anthony Patterson. So close to a second for Leicester City, as the shot from Mavididi came off the boot of Anthony Patterson, smacked against the foot of the post and away. 1-0 to Leicester.
He's just so good in those positions, isn't he, Mavididi? In terms of 1v1 against the defender, lovely little quick step over from him onto his left foot, brilliant strike, and it's Patterson's actually trying to guess that he's going to go to the far post. It goes to his near post, but he sticks out that right boot and ricochets it onto the post.
And Dewsbury Hall with 2 firmer through ball intended for Ian Acho. Goal kick to Sunderland. Certainly Steffi Mavididi had arguably his best game of the season on Saturday at Swansea. I think Enzo Maresca's been looking for better quality and better understanding of what's around him. Certainly decided that going for goal was the best option, and he was so close. But Patterson did enough, got his right boot to it, it thudded against the base of the post and floated away from danger. 1-0 to Leicester, 1-0 to Derby County in League One, not too far from here at Pride Park. Nathaniel Mendes-Lang. Blackpool 2-0 up on Cheltenham in the same division. Jordan Rhodes with a second for Blackpool. Here's Dan Neil for Sunderland, who are 1-0 down to Leicester City. Winks tries to get it clear for the host. It drops for Dewsbury Hall just shy of the halfway line. Pretty much everything to his right, but he looks left for Mavididi, but he couldn't turn away from Luke O'Nien. Well, I think he's been a Sunderland player for about 50 years, even though he's only 28. He's played pretty much everywhere apart from goalkeeper for Sunderland, playing at centre-half tonight alongside Dan Ballard. And he looks on as Ricardo, playing at left-back for Leicester tonight, finds Mavididi, but that is a wasteful hook infield straight to Niall Huggins, and he finds Pierre Ekwa.
I think just going back to Mavididi, in terms of when I've watched him play so often this season, it feels like he should have more than the 2 goals and 2 assists that he had before this game. You know, the amount of great positions he gets into, chances he looks like he can have, 1v1. I think there's still a lot more to come from him.
Joe Bellingham for Sunderland, trailing by a goal to nil. Bellingham down the inside left channel, gets to the midway point of the half, plays it out left to Clark. Clark whips across him, but it's away from Burstow, and a comfortable claim on his 6-yard line for Mads Hermansen, the Leicester goalkeeper. MK Dons take the lead again against Bradford, 2-1. Jack Payne. Lincoln equalise at home to Charlton. That's 1-1 at Sinsel back now. Hakeem Adelakun. And Notts County double their lead against Newport at Meadow Lane. Macaulay Langstaff gets that goal. That's 10 for the season now for Macaulay Langstaff after his 40-odd last season in the National League. Bellingham penalised for a foul midway point of the Leicester half, and Keith Stroud sends Joe Bellingham away, no caution.
I'm not sure how he got the ball. It was actually Bellingham that got a whack from Justin.
Hermansen with a very nervous clearance. Burstow was closing him down as the Leicester goalkeeper had the ball at the edge of the D. He managed to get it clear, and then Sunderland won it back just over the halfway line. On this near side, the Sunderland right, Patrick Roberts, faced up by Iheanacho. Nutmegs Iheanacho, but runs straight into Ricardo Pereira. And then Pereira loses out to Dan Neal, who plays a little cheeky flick to get it out to the right-hand side. Roberts is still there with him. He ends up winning a throw. That's good close control from 2 Sunderland players in very, very tight spots, but Leicester lead 1-0 on 20 minutes.
He's got that almost Bernardo Silva-y type movement, hasn't he? Roberts, that close control, the way he can change direction very, very quickly, pivot on that right foot of his and just manipulate the ball with his left.
Grimsby 1, Colchester 2. Colchester lost their last 4. I believe Matty Etherington's in charge of Colchester this evening, with Ben Garner having been dismissed. FC Halifax Town 1, Hartlepool 0 in the National League tonight. In the National League, it's 2nd against 3rd. Barnet against Solihull at the Hive, and Chesterfield, who are top on goal difference from Barnet. They host York. Goal kick given to Hermansen, who again was being closed down by Mason Burstow. Fires it downfield, and it will just trickle out of play before Mavididi gets there. He claims he was being held on halfway and being prevented from chasing after the ball by Luke O'Nien having a chunk of his shirt. 1-0 to Leicester.
Well, he was, but he was just too strong, and he'd read where the ball was going to bounce. O'Nien, bit of experience just showing there, got himself into a good position and was just too strong for Mavididi.
Certainly Sunderland have been forced back a little bit after those opening 10 minutes where they were holding that very high line that Dean Ashton mentioned. Mavididi wins a throw off Hume. Mansfield have a second at Harrogate. Harrogate 0, Mansfield 2. Lucas Akins with the second goal there. 1-0 to Leicester. James Justin the scorer. Midway point of the first half here on Talksport 2. Double bill of Champions League action for you tomorrow. Young Boys against Manchester City on Talksport at 8. Pep's been having a bit of a moan up about the artificial pitch in Switzerland for that game. And myself and Danny Mills will be on here on Talksport 2, bringing you Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan. That, of course, an 8 o'clock kickoff as well in the Champions League. Gianluigi Donnarumma facing his old club. He's now Paris Saint-Germain keeper. Came through, of course, at AC Milan. On Thursday, Europa League commentary at 5:45 on Talksport 2. Olympiacos against Dean's former club West Ham. Bolton 2-0 up at Wickham, incidentally. George Thomason, Joe Bellingham with a heavy touch, almost presented the ball to Leicester in a very dangerous area, high at the field, but Leicester won it back anyway. Fleet of foot, Abdul Fatawu rides a challenge of Ekwa, skips into the centre of the Sunderland half. Tried to lay it back to Ricardo, but Mason Burstow stuck a foot in and got it clear. And now Jack Clark is racing after Mads Hermansen as the goalkeeper clears his lines from just outside his own penalty area. But it's well collected, very neatly collected by Niall Huggins, actually, in the left-back position for Sunderland. And the Black Cats have possession once again. 24 gone, 1-0 to Leicester. 09 finds Patrick Roberts inside his own half, hugging this near touchline. Again, another lovely drop of the shoulder from Roberts to get away from Winks. It's gone for the return from Dan Neil, but the pass was a bit too short from Neil, and Roberts couldn't pick it up. It's back with Ricardo Pereira, but he's been dispossessed by Neil. He nutmegs Winks, which he couldn't do a couple of minutes ago. He's done it now, but Leicester have won it back. Sunderland seem to be growing in confidence just a little bit.
But that is their one weakness, Leicester, is Winks in that defensive position, especially if he starts to drift and think he can go and win it, because physically he can't really get there in that defensive position.
And there's no Ndidi tonight, of course, for that extra...
No, yeah, exactly, that extra layer
physical presence that he brings.
Yeah, but that's the only thing. If he goes and presses Winks and he misses it because he hasn't got the pace to get there, then they're quite open, Leicester.
25 minutes gone. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0. Lucas Akins scores a third for Mansfield. Harrogate 0, Mansfield 3 in League 2. Try Hume, the right back for Sunderland, trying to control the ball, lofted over halfway, but gets away from him. And Harry Winks has it back midway point of his own half. Plays it into the centre circle. Cassidy lets the ball run across his body and then moves at pace away from Eckworth into the Sunderland half. Cassidy then runs into O'Nien, who just stood still and let Cassidy run into him and won the ball back well for Sunderland. Bellingham brings the ball away. Out to Clark on the left-hand side for the Black Cats. 20 yards inside the Leicester half of the field. Roberts in acres of space on this near side, but Clark went alone for a moment and there was a foul on a Sunderland player. Winks is the offender, and it's given Sunderland a free kick about 30 yards out. It was Neil that was brought down, and there'll be a few candidates fancying a strike on goal for Sunderland here.
Yeah, it was a lovely swivel from Dan Neil towards the edge of the Leicester penalty area, and Winks just catches him on the Achilles. I don't actually think he's trying to make a challenge. I just think he's trying to make a step, and was just, again, a bit too slow to get near the ball.
But it's just to the left of centre, this free kick, and about, well, good 30 yards out, maybe a bit more. Either a left or right-footed effort could work here. It's so close to being central. Roberts and Clark are the two players standing over it. There's a 5-man Leicester wall standing right on the 18-yard line. Gives you an idea of just how far out this free kick is. Away to our right at the south stand end. Patrick Roberts very deliberately pacing 3 or 4 steps backwards from the ball. And that goes back to the ball as Keith Stroud tells the players to get behind the vanishing spray that he's put down. And he's also having a word with Mason Burstow, making sure that he's not manhandling Fatawu too much.
I mean, that's never 10 yards, by the way. It's just not.
Well, it is Patrick Roberts who's going to take it left-footed. It hits that wall that isn't 10 yards.
It just wasn't. I'm amazed Keith Stroud has allowed that to happen. That looked about 8 yards.
I've been to St Andrews to watch Birmingham, and what the Birmingham fans do is when the ref's pacing out the 10 yards, they count 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. When he gets to the way,
yeah, very good.
Set that a big cheer. Now here's Mason Burstow bursting through the middle. Couldn't latch onto a through ball that was intended for him by Patrick Roberts. Sunderland want it back again on this right-hand side. Dan Neil has got Roberts going on his outside, uses him as a decoy. Does Dan Neil, and moves inside. Finds Pierre Eckworth. Eckworth plays the ball into the feet of Burstow. 25 yards out. Tried to turn away from Fast, but couldn't get the better of him. Ball's back with Hermansen, and under pressure from Bellingham, he just puts it anywhere. Out of play for a throw. And that's a real feature of Sunderland's play. When the ball goes back to the Leicester goalkeeper, they're straight on him. 1-0 to the Foxes.
Yeah, and he's not even got that one out ball that I see a lot of goalkeepers have, whether it's a clip towards the fullback aerially to allow him to challenge for it. Hermansen is either just smashing it forwards or, like he did there, just putting it out of play, which is probably better than trying to be clever and do a Cruyff turn.
Well, again, he got a round of applause from his manager Enzo Maresco for Mads Hermansen doing that. Eckworth finds O'Nien back in his own half. Sunderland in possession. They're a goal down to the championship leaders here, Leicester City, as we approach the half-hour mark on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Jack Clark gets the afterburners on and moves infield for the left-hand side, but he was dispossessed by Wout Faes, and now Dan Ballard under pressure from Iheanacho at the other end of the field. But Ballard does well, uses his physicality and strength to keep Iheanacho away from the ball. And now Joe Bellingham picks it up deep and finds Dan Neil just shy of the halfway line. Neil looks up, tries to play it in behind, looking for the run of Niall Huggins, but it actually rolls through to Hermansen inside his own penalty area. 1-0 to Leicester City here.
That's twice now, though, that Sunderland have had the opportunity to play that ball through, and there was a huge gap behind the Leicester defence twice, and the ball has just been overhit. You know, when you get those opportunities, the quality's got to be there.
Pierre Ekwa collects it. The 3 on his 39 looks like it's half disappeared. Pierre Ekwa.
Yes, it has.
Now he fires a lovely diagonal ball out to the right wing, and Patrick Roberts. But Roberts is offside, says the assistant on this near side to us. So it's a free kick to Leicester. Half an hour gone. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0 on Talksport 2. Blackpool 3, Cheltenham 0 at Bloomfield Road. Karamoko Dembele with the 3rd for Blackpool. Real Madrid lead at Braga at the Quarry in the Champions League. Rodrigo. What a wonderful stadium that is, where you got the mountain at one end of the ground behind the one goal. Bristol Rovers 0, Stevenage 1 in League One. Jamie Reid makes it 10 for the season as Stevenage lead at the Mem. Sunderland coming forward again, trying to find an equaliser. Here's Jack Clark into the box, edge of the area, tries a right-footed drive, and it deflected through, and somehow Hermansen pushed it away, and then it was turned behind for a Sunderland corner kick as Sunderland's top scorer went close again. 1-0 Leicester.
I mean, Jack Clark, when he gets the ball and he starts to dribble, he almost gets quicker when he's got the ball than he does without it. Cuts inside his right foot, couple of deflections, the last one off Wout Faes, and Hermansen does really well again, like his opposite number the other end. Uses
Clark
his
has it again from the corner, tries to drive it in from the right-hand side. Neil lifts it to the back post. Oh, free header at the back post for Joe Bellingham, and he couldn't keep it down. There were 2 defenders on the left-hand side of the area. Neil swung in across, and Bellingham was the player on the end of it, but he couldn't keep it down. Big chance for Sunderland to make it 1-1, but Leicester still lead.
Oh, again from Dan Neil, the delivery's perfect. You can't ask for much better if you're trying to attack it. It's right there, it's the perfect height. And Joe Bellingham, he just gets it all wrong. As he goes to header, he mistimes it, misjudges the flight. Instead of it coming off the meat of the forehead, he ends up putting his head down. It comes off the top of his head and just balloons over the top. What a chance.
I think they call it a dancer header in the trade. I've done plenty of those in my time. Shut your eyes about 5 seconds before the ball gets into your head. A few half-times coming in. Swansea 0, Watford 0 is a half-time. So too Millwall 1, Blackburn 1 in the Championship. But the leaders of England's second tier are in front here. James Justin making it Leicester 1, Sunderland 0 just after the 10-minute mark. Wout Faes for Leicester. Threads it down this near side of the left, looking for Dewsbury Hall, but it's headed out of play by Leicester, so Sunderland have a throw, and Tri-Hume's going to throw the ball in all the way back to his goalkeeper, Anthony Patterson, who's kept it at 1-0, making that save, pushing Mavadidi's low drive onto the post with his right boot. 09 up to halfway. Was he caught by Mavadidi? Referee initially allows the advantage, and then as Burstow let the ball run between his legs and tried to bring it forward, Leicester won it back, so no advantage for Sunderland in the end as the ball's back with Hermansen. 12 to half-time. Long straight ball downfield, looking to pick out Dewsbury Hall, and he's found Dewsbury Hall, but he's set upon, he's managed to wriggle free of 2 defenders, up to Iheanacho inside the area, can't make the space for the shot. There were just too many red and white striped shirts back. Here's Mavadidi though, picking it up left-hand side for Leicester. Level with the box, goes for the byline. Checks onto his left, rolls his right foot on the ball. But in the end, Dan Neil prevented the corner kick, but it is a throw to Leicester right by the corner flag. 1-0 to the Foxes.
Well, that's the first time actually they've utilised that space that Sunderland have left, because 09 and Ballard at times have been going in with Iheanacho or going to try and press one of the midfield players, and it's the first time the goalkeeper just played the ball straight over the top for that third man run of Dewsbury Hall. did well to wriggle free, but Iheanacho just made the wrong decision, went back into traffic.
Dean Ashton alongside me, Ian Danter tonight on commentary. We've just over 10 minutes plus added time to half-time here in this 8 o'clock kickoff at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0. Sunderland have won a throw out on the far side.
I think it says everything about how well Sunderland have played. 50-50 possession here at the King Power, and actually 6 attempts to 2 against Leicester City.
Yeah.
Shows how well they've actually played in this first half.
It does chime with what Tony Mowbray was saying in his pre-match press conference, that they weren't going to succeed by simply sitting back and soaking up pressure, because he said Leicester are just too clever for that. They will find a way through. So clearly Tony Mowbray's notion was to be a bit more forward thinking, and they've had their moments in this first half. Bellingham now flattened by Vestergaard just shy of the halfway line, so Sunderland have a free kick which Bellingham will leave for perhaps Dan Ballard to take, and it will be Ballard, I think, who's going to play it short. Plays it back into square to Luke O'Nien. O'Nien looks up and drills the ball downfield. He was looking for the run of Dan Neil, but he's overhit that, and it just skims through to Mads Hermansen, who can pick the ball up inside his Leicester City penalty area. What have you made of Mason Burstow, the Sunderland number 11? He's not really had a great deal to feed off so far, has he, in some respects?
He's not, but as I said before the game, I think that role is important, because he's kept Vestergaard and Fass occupied, and then that allows Jack Clarke to be 1v1. Okay. That allows Roberts 1v, and then Dan Neil and Bellingham have done very well in making sure they go up and support. But in terms of actual action, Burstow, hardly anything, has he? Which is kind of the role at times.
So that's important what you say, that he has been doing work. It's not like he's been just standing there waiting for the ball to come to him.
He's made some very, very good runs that have taken the centre-backs away, but they're probably not going to play that ball towards him, but he's got to do that. It's not a very... It's sort of a thankless task at times, playing as a number 9 nowadays.
Vestergaard's just whacked it against Cesare Casadei. He was trying to play a ball up to the halfway line, but it came off the Leicester number 7 and out for a throw. A few subs warming up, including Jamie Vardy, who gets the traditional warm round of applause from the Leicester fans behind the goal away to our left. Ekwa for Sunderland at 1-0 to Leicester City. 36.5 gone on Talksport 2. Ball out to Huggins on the left-hand side, up against James Justin, the goal scorer. Huggins turns inside Justin, but that allows Abdul Fatawu to pick up possession for Leicester, and he'll lay it back to Justin. Now Casadei just outside his own penalty area, plays it right, and then a crossfield pass from Fatawu brilliantly picks out that pass. Warm applause you can hear around us for the intelligence to spread play from Fatawu. Iheanacho leaves the ball for Ricardo Pereira, who was almost dispossessed on halfway by Mason Burstow. Now Kiernan Dewsbury Hall plays a little 1-2 with Ricardo. Has to go back into his own half for Fass. And back for the goalkeeper, Hermansen. Burstow keeping a close eye on him. Ball's ruled out short to Harry Winks, who gives it back to Hermansen. Again, the Sunderland players will pressurise the goalkeeper's clearance. He gets a left-footed clearance downfield, and Try Hume heads it towards halfway, but it was won back for Leicester by Steffi Mavididi. Good ball in field for Winks in the centre circle. Releases Casadei inside the Sunderland half, but that's a great challenge, Pierre Ekwa, but then he handles the ball. As he went to ground, he thought he'd won a free kick, put his arms on the ball, and Kiestrad said no. Free kick to Leicester.
Difficult to call that for the referee. Both sets of players, legs are tangled, and because Ekwa just grabbed hold of the ball as if to say, well, it has to be a foul to me, the referee felt not so much. Difficult to call when they just collide together.
Free kick taken out to the right-hand side. Fatawu works it back infield for Winks. Winks combines with Ricardo, and now Fass again with a bit of space just over the halfway line. Chips the ball up to the edge of the area. Casadei knocks it down for Iheanacho off the post, and I think the keeper going to touch to it. Winks on the follow-up with a drive from 25 yards. Sees that effort blocked by O'Nien, and I think Anthony Patterson will be getting a pat on his back from his manager at half-time. I think he got fingertips for that Iheanacho shot that would have led to a most stupendous Leicester second. As it is, it's still only 1-0.
Well, if he has, it's just magnificent, because he's got so much pace on the strike from Iheanacho. He has no right to make a save, if I'm honest, but brilliant play from Leicester City. The ball from about Fast into the third man run from Cassidy, then spots Iheanacho, nods it down to him, he catches it so sweet on the half volley.
He's going to get a yellow card here. Iheanacho was applauding the referee sarcastically and gets a yellow card for doing it.
Well, it was just the way they worked it, Leicester, in towards Iheanacho's path, and there was, with a monitor in front of us, there was a fingertip from Patterson. He hasn't got it left anymore, it's disappeared with the ferocity of that shot from Iheanacho. But what a save.
Twice Anthony Patterson's kept the score down for Sunderland, so it's 1-0 to Leicester City. Iheanacho booked for that sarcastic applause to the referee, but he's just won the ball back for the Foxes. Dewsbury Hall in the centre of the Sunderland half has to turn back towards the centre circle under pressure from Bellingham. Good ball from Vestergaard to find Cassidy inside right, plays it out to the right wing for Fatawu. Fatawu tried to drive it across right to left looking for Mavididi. Roberts looked favourite to get there first, but Mavididi showed a little turn of pace to get there first himself. Dewsbury Hall intercepted by Try Hume. Now Neil brings it away and finds Roberts for Sunderland. Roberts just tried to get the ball under his spell before he flicked it infield, and by the time he was ready to play the ball, he'd lost it.
Just taken a couple of times, Roberts, just a couple of times he's taken too many touches.
Yeah,
he's just dabbed the ball just that extra little bit too much when the pass was there to be played, and then he hasn't really got the pace to get away from players, so then it's intercepted.
4 minutes of normal time remaining in this first half. Roberts was penalised for a trip on Winks, but I think after that yellow card for Iheanacho, Leicester fans want the numbers evened up in terms of referees' bookings. Wasn't happening there. Hermansen will clear right-footed for Leicester down the right-hand side looking for Fatawu, but it just bounces away from him and out of play for a Sunderland throw on the far side of the field in that east stand side. Ekwa finds Huggins, good ball infield for Bellingham. Bellingham has got Winks at his back, so he has to play the ball back into his own penalty area for 09, who in turn looks for Patterson, who quickly had to clear because Dewsbury Hall and Iheanacho were on the scene, and Sunderland's clearance doesn't reach halfway. Fast won it back for Leicester. Mavididi nodded it infield but only found 09 looking to release Clark with a diagonal ball. Brilliant pass. Clark manages to chest it down, but that allows Justin enough time to get back and poke it out of play for a Sunderland throw. Taken quickly, Dan Neal looks for Burstow at the edge of the area, but Fast there again in front of the youngster, and lovely skill from Fatawu to take the ball away from Huggins. Skips infield. Bellingham won it back temporarily, but pick up the loose ball is Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Finds Iheanacho 25 yards out with his back to goal. Lays it off to Fatawu. Cassidy now has it right-hand side for Leicester as they go hunting a second here on Talksport 2. Then patiently they go back to Vestergaard in the centre circle. Dewsbury Hall looks to play a reverse ball inside the right-back Try Hume, but it's dealt with by Sunderland at the back, and Niall Huggins, the left-back, turns away from Fatawu initially, but Fatawu wasn't giving it up, and he's holding up Niall Huggins. Ekwa tries to turn it round the corner looking for Clark. One back for Leicester by James Justin. Again, it's frenetic out there.
It is. Clark's found it difficult though, he's had his moments, but when Justin gets close to him, too strong, too quick actually for Jack Clark. James Justin, he's done well at times, but just in terms of a good tactic, really.
Oh, Hermansen's given it away to Jack Clark. Clark slides it into Mason Burstow. Burstow tries to take a touch at the edge of the area, and he couldn't get the shot away because there were Leicester defenders back. Hermansen passed the ball straight to Clark, who was about 50 yards out. I was waiting for Clark to have a go at goal. Instead, here's Dan Neal, right-hand side of the area. Gets to the byline, goes down under pressure from Fass, and a corner is given by Keith Stroud with 90 seconds of the first half remaining. Neal is claiming that Fass brought him down.
Well, he didn't get the ball, that's why. He wanted a penalty, did Neal, as Fass tried to get the ball and got none of it. And I think he's got a claim as well.
Only a corner in the end for Sunderland, which Roberts is preparing to take. Away to our right at that south stand end, the southwest corner, just down beneath us to our right. Left-footed in-swinger into the near post, headed out by Dewsbury Hall. Back infield to the centre of the Leicester half, and Pierre Eckwood just slides it left for Niall Huggins running forward. Now out on the left-hand side, Joe Bellingham. Bellingham just trying to get away from Justin, gives the ball to Dan Neil, centre of the half. Neil with a strong cross into the area, headed towards goal by Ballard, and that's well claimed at the far post by Hermansen. And Leicester still lead by a goal to nil.
Just made sure he put a little bit more pace on that one, did Dan Neil. The other ones had been just guided in. This one was put in with some pace, and Ballard facing the wrong way. Difficult header. Did well, actually, to get that down towards the far post.
We're just seeing a replay again of that challenge from Wout Faes on Dan Neil, and it doesn't appear like he got a great deal of the ball,
No, I think that is a penalty. I think that's a penalty. As soon as you do that as a defender, go to try and win a ball in the penalty area, sliding in, and you don't get the ball.
Well, here's a collector's item. Just 1 minute of additional time at the end of this first half. So used to seeing an O at the end of the one for some stoppage times. Is there a chance for Sunderland to get themselves level before they go in for the break? Burstow finds Pierre Eckwood in the centre circle. Now Bellingham picks it up just inside the Leicester half, rolls his foot on the ball, keeps it away from Justin, lays it off to Eckwood. Eckwood gets his head up. Bellingham once more, faced up by his opposite number, Cassidy. Out to the left-hand side it goes, and Jack Clark. Back in field it goes to Joe Bellingham. There's plenty forward in Sunderland shirts, but nobody inside the box. Back with Pierre Eckwood. Now Burstow makes a run across the 18-yard line. Huggins gives it back to Bellingham. Can't be long left in the minimum minute of added time. Hume looks for Bellingham once again. Out to the left-hand side. Patient from Sunderland this. Now Clark goes on the outside of Fatawu. Gets towards the corner flag on the far side of the field. Gives it back to Huggins. Huggins will deliver the cross. And it's cleared away by Yannick Vestergaard, and that signals the end of a very entertaining first half. Leicester, looking for 8 league wins in a row, are halfway towards that. James Justin with a firm header from Leicester's first corner of the game put them ahead. They could have been 2 or 3 up, but for the brilliance of Anthony Patterson in the Sunderland goal, denying Steffi Mavididi, diverting his left-footed shot from a tight angle onto the post and away, and then from a brilliant move that Leicester made on the counter-attack, Kelechi Iheanacho thought he'd found the right-hand corner of the net, only for Patterson to get the slightest fingertip touch to turn it onto the post and away. Sunderland certainly came with good intentions early on to try and cause Leicester problems of their own at the back, and they've had their moments, the Black Cats. But Dean Ashton, at the break, it is Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0.
It's been a terrific game. It's been elite level in terms of the playing out from the back, in terms of the creativity, the interchanging of positions from both sides. I've been so impressed with Sunderland, honestly. The sort of bravery that they're taking to be away from home to the league leaders and still be looking to play through and to play a high line, I think, has been a credit to them, and they've created a lot of chances because of it without really having that genuine quality at the end of it. Leicester actually, I think, have been quite happy to allow Sunderland to have some of the ball, knowing that they've got that real genuine pace on the counter-attack, which they've shown when they've won it back. That's when they've looked genuinely dangerous.
And James Justin, you wouldn't have had him down as first goal scorer, would you?
No, he'd have been a decent price, wouldn't he? But look, if you get the delivery right, which Dewsbury Hall tends to do, floated that one in, and it just shows you can play out from the back, you can be nice and creative, you can be brave, but if you don't mark properly from set plays, then teams will punish you. Justin is unmarked, he runs towards the near post where Bellingham's job there, because of his height, and he's going to have to learn this as a young player, because he's tall, he's going to be used in that position. You've got to be aware, you've got to be checking your shoulder all of the time to make sure nobody gets in front of you to score at that near post, and he just switched off. Justin got up nice and high, and it was a brilliant header.
But there's plenty more in this game, you feel, from both sides after the restart, so stay with us on Talksport 2. Dean Ashton alongside me, Ian Danter. The half-time score here at the King Power Stadium. The Championship leaders are in front. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0.
EFL Live on Talksport 2. Rugby World Cup 2023 on Talksport with Tenor Men. From the lineouts in Lyon.
There's a chance here.
To the scrums in St Etienne. From the drop goals in Saint-Denis.
Steps up right-footed.
To the final touch in Toulouse.
What a way to finish.
Listen to Talksport Breakfast all this week from 6 and get every tackle, turnover and try as the world's rugby elite do battle for the legendary Webb Ellis Cup.
Bulldozing his way to the line.
Rugby World Cup daily updates on Talksport with Tenor Men. Keep control.
Righty here for Gillette. Have I got something for you? The Gillette Labs razor has a unique exfoliating bar that clears the path before the blades for effortless shaving in one stroke, leaving you fresh and ready to take on your day in no time. And at Gillette, we promise you that Gillette Labs is the ultimate shave, or, I've always wanted to say this, your money back. Gillette, the best a man can get. 18 plus, retain receipt, terms and conditions apply.
If you hold there, we're going to pour them into these trays.
I'm making chocolate. If you're looking to take the next steps with your business, get in touch with NatWest.
So how did NatWest get involved?
We started really small in my back garden, and then I moved into here. NatWest had an accelerator programme which talked about funding, leadership. The business just started to grow.
And now get 2 years free everyday banking if you open a startup account or switch to NatWest Business Banking, backed by the current account switch guarantee. Search NatWest Business. Tomorrow begins today.
Criteria apply. Turnover under £1 million for startup, under £2 million for switch. Standard tariff thereafter. Switchers must use full current account switch service. Can't transfer another NatWest Group business account. Other fees may apply. Offer may be withdrawn.
Going to the shops isn't everyone's bag. Like Toby here. He'd rather nurture his plants. So he gets everything he needs for dinner delivered to his door from as little as 20 minutes with Tesco Whoosh.
Keep reaching for the sun, Arthur. You're growing so fast, little one. Blooming lovely, aren't you?
Carry on, Toby. Tesco Whoosh. Every little helps. Fees apply. Delivery times 20 to 60 minutes. Selected areas. Whoosh specific pricing. See tesco.com/whoosh.
Love barbecue sauce. Love crispy chicken breast fillet and smoky barbecue sauce. Love cheddar cheese with barbecue sauce. Love red onion oozing in barbecue sauce. Oh, everything's better with barbecue sauce. Introducing the new McCrispy Barbecue Smokehouse. Available until the 21st of barbecue sauce. Until the 21st of November. Served after 11 a.m. Subject to availability.
And here they come. What a magnificent sight. Yes, it's live British horse racing on the radio, and Talksport 2 have got it covered. Tomorrow afternoon from 2, Talksport 2 will bring you full coverage and live race commentary of all the action, direct from Fontwell Park. Saddle up for live British horse racing on the radio. Download the Talksport app and swipe left, or ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2 to follow all the action. Tomorrow afternoon from 2 on Talksport 2. On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app, and on your smart speaker. EFL Live on TalkSport 2.
Patrick Roberts combines with Dan Neal, sets 09 away on the right-hand side, crosses to the far post. Jack Clark drives it straight at Hermanson, onto the 6-yard line. Brilliant header. James Justin, and it's only taken Leicester, 12 minutes to hit the front.
And what a header. Didn't he mean this?
Now Mavididi picks it up for Leicester, left-hand side of the box, drives it goals, touched onto the post by the boot of Anthony Patterson. Ricardo, and now Fass again with a bit of space just over the halfway line. Chips the ball up to the edge of the area. Cassidy knocks it down for Iheanacho off the post, and I think the keeper going to touch to it. Weeks on the follow-up with a drive from 25 yards. Sees that effort blocked by 09. Talksport 2, you're home with the EFL. I'm Ian Danta, Dean Ashton alongside me tonight on commentary. Half-time score here with a full second half commentary to come. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0. Elsewhere, games back underway in the second half in the Championship. Well, this is a half-time score. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3. Elsewhere into the second halves, Millwall 1, Blackburn 1, Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 1. Sam Greenwood gave Middlesbrough the lead early in the second period. Swansea 0, Watford 0, and West Brom still in the first half against QPR. That game is delayed until 8:10 because QPR's coach got stuck in the traffic around the Hawthorns, and it's mad around the Hawthorns at the minute for traffic. That's still 0-0. In League One, half times, Barnsley 2, Shrewsbury 0, Blackpool 3, Cheltenham 1. Into the second half, Bristol Rovers 0, Stevenage 1, Cambridge 0, the leaders Portsmouth 0, Carlisle 0, Burton 1, Derby 1, Exeter 0, Lincoln 1, Charlton 1, Northampton 1, Leyton Orient 1, Port Vale 0, Peterborough 1, Wigan 1, Oxford 0, Wickham 0, Bolton 2, and Reading 0, Fleetwood 1 is a half-time score. Down into League 2, half-time Wimbledon 0, Accrington 2. Into the second half, Crewe 0, Stockport 0, Doncaster 0, Salford 2, Forest Green 0, Barrow 2, Grimsby 1, Colchester 2, Harrogate 0, Mansfield 3, MK Dons 2, Bradford 1, Morecambe 0, Tranmere 0, Notts County 2, Newport 0, Swindon 0, Gillingham 1, Walsall 0, Crawley 0, and Wrexham 1, Sutton 0. In the Champions League, just to let you know, Arsenal have a half-time lead in Seville. That's live over on Talksport. Gabriel Martinelli right on half-time for the Gunners. And it's Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0 at half-time in their Champions League game. Adrian Durham's hosting on Talksport from there, but full second-half commentary from the Sanchez Pizjuan with Sam Matapace and Scott Minto to see if Arsenal can hang on to that lead. Elsewhere in the Champions League, Bayern Munich beat Galatasaray by 3-1 in the early game. That's in Manchester United's group, so that's 3 wins from 3 for Bayern. Inter beat Salzburg 2-1, and the other half-time scores from the 8 o'clocks: Lens 0, PSV 0, Braga 0, Real Madrid 1, Union Berlin 0, Napoli 0, and Benfica 0, Real Sociedad 0. So you bang up to date with all the scores as we have them at the moment. Now, Everton announced a couple of hours ago, very sadly, that the long-serving chairman Bill Kenwright has died at the age of 78. The club says he passed away last night, surrounded by his family and loved ones, and the club labelled him a chairman, a leader, a friend, and an inspiration. Talksport's Graham Beecroft covered Everton for many years and joined Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent on Talksport Drive to pay his own tribute to Kenwright.
He was a fan of the club, top and bottom, and that's the thing about him, in that he was different perhaps from some other chairman. Certainly these days, some other chairmen who've come in and taken over and bought football clubs. And so it's a very, very sad loss indeed. Sad in a way as well that right at the end of his tenure, but just before passing away, he wasn't the fans' favourite. They felt that he was not doing the best that he could for the football club. He was being criticised. He had to even have people who were looking after him in the director's box so that nobody would have a go at him, attack him, in fact, which was a really, really sad way to end. And of course, at one stage, he was told, and along with the other directors, not to turn up. Such was the venom of the supporters, which was a really sad way to end for somebody who had Everton at the heart and tried to do his very best for Everton Football Club.
He certainly did. Graham, what can you tell me about him as a person? Because I obviously, from an outside perspective, I've only seen him as a chairman, but you obviously know him better than I do. So what was he like as a person?
Oh, he was a very, very nice person, charming person. Always stop and have a chat with you if you were speaking to him, or you were down in the tunnel and he was wandering down. Always had a hello and a cheery smile. It was a lovely fella, really, really nice guy to meet and to know. And that is, one of the other great things about this. It's a big disappointment that he's gone. He'll be missed by so many people. People that knew him will be really, really disappointed with the way he went out, in a way, as I've just described. But nonetheless, he was somebody who will always be remembered, I think, as an Everton fan. And he did his best for the football club. Right at the very end, I think, the fact is that events overtook him, really. The way that football was going, the fans thought, well, this is somebody who's not able to put money into the football club. He should stand down and move on. And that was very disappointing indeed.
OK, well, on the back of that, let's talk positively about how much of modern-day Everton do you think, as well as the new stadium, of course, being built, is down to Bill Kenwright?
I would think that, he will be regarded as somebody who did a lot for the football club. Modern day Everton, it's difficult to say because we don't really know right at this moment what the modern day Everton will be. There are a lot of question marks over the club. So there are still problems which the club has to face and has to sort out. So from that point of view, I think it would be a little bit early to make a a decision on that sort of basis. Nonetheless, as I say, he did the best that he could for the football club. He was Everton at heart, Everton through and through. He did everything that he possibly could to make the club as good as he could, because, as I say, he was a fan. But right at the very end, unfortunately, it turned a little bit sour, and I felt very much so that was sad.
Listen, before I let you go, Benny alluded to it before that, people like myself and Benny only saw him from the outside. You knew him pretty well. How will you remember him?
I'll remember him as a really kind guy who had time for everybody, who was such a great fan of the club. And he put on, of course, he was an actor himself. He was in Coronation Street, great producer and director of of West End plays. And virtually every play you can think of, Bill Kenwright put on in the West End. He was that kind of individual, but never ever lost his down-to-earth feelings.
Graham Beecroft, Talksport's Merseyside correspondent, reflecting on the life and times of the late Bill Kenwright, who so sadly passed away today at the age of 78. And he was chatting with Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent on Drive. Drive back tomorrow from 4 on Talksport. And Gabby Egbonderhor is going to be alongside Andy Goldstein for those 3 hours between 4 and 7. Back here at the King Power Stadium, it's Leicester 1, Sunderland 0 at the break. Back to bring you full second half commentary here on your home of the EFL. Some goals going in elsewhere. Grimsby 2, Colchester 2. Grimsby equalised through Donovan Wilson. A third for Accrington Stanley at AFC Wimbledon. Joe Pritchard makes it AFC Wimbledon 0, Accrington Stanley 3. West Brom 0, QPR 0 is now a half-time score in that slightly delayed 8 o'clock kickoff. And in that battle between second and third in the National League, Solihull Moors lead at the Hive at Barnet. Barnet 0, Solihull 1. Joe Newton putting Solihull ahead. Chesterfield are also leading. They're 1-0 up against York, and they're only top from Barnet on goal difference going into tonight's games. Carlisle have just equalised against Burton Albion in League One. They went behind very early at Brunton Park, but Jordan Gibson has equalised for the Cumbrians. And you're up to date here on Talksport 2 as we await the arrival of the players. Tony Mowbray's out. The Sunderland manager sat on the drinks cooler right in front of his technical area, and we await both sets of players to come out. The ground staff are out putting forks in the ground, although they don't really need to do too much tending to that playing surface. You're not long retired, Dean, and playing surfaces are almost beyond even what you played on.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I didn't play really on pitches as good as this, maybe in the last year of my career, but they're just outstanding now. It's actually not great when you can't look down at the pitch and blame it.
But they're hard pitches. They're sand-based, and they're pretty firm.
Oh,
they look great, but they're not particularly forgiving, are they, to the body?
No, they test your touch in a different way. The way it skips off this surface, especially when it's wet, it really tests you. But it makes for a team that wants to pass, like these two teams want to. Makes for good viewing.
Leicester hoping to open up an 8-point gap on Ipswich beneath them. Ipswich didn't play on Friday night. They were set to be taking on Rotherham live on Talksport 2, but that game was called off 3 hours before kickoff because of all the flooding issues around the South Yorkshire area. So that's going to have to be rearranged. And with Leicester winning at Swansea on Saturday, just opened up that gap at the top that little bit further for the Foxes. And next up, Leicester are away at QPR, who, as we've heard, have been struggling under Gareth Ainsworth this season. Then a home clash here with Leeds United that whets the appetite, I must say. And then away at Middlesbrough before the international break. Sunderland have got Norwich at home next. Then they go away to Swansea, and then they entertain Birmingham at the Stadium of Light before the November international fixtures. We're back underway on Talksport 2. Leicester kicking from left to right as we look at the back of the West Stand. So they're kicking towards the South Stand to our right in all blue. Sunderland kicking towards the North Stand, their fans in the northeast corner. Over on the far side from us, they're wearing the red and white stripes, black shorts, red socks. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall for Leicester, getting forward in these early stages of the second half. Lays it back in field to Harry Winks. Back into the centre circle for Yannick Vestergaard. Now Wout Faes, the Belgian defender, just lobs the ball down the centre of the field. Cassidy chests it down well at the edge of the area. Winks finds Iheanacho inside the D, but there was just a foot in to take it away from him by Try Hume, and Sunderland will bring it clear. Here's Jack Clark, who plays the ball into the feet of Dan Neil, just ahead of the centre circle. Clark wants it back on this near side of the left, but Neil's going in field and finds Patrick Roberts, right-hand side of the area, trying to wriggle his way through and get a shot away. It's blocked by Faes. Good quick feet from Patrick Roberts, but the shot was blocked, and away comes Mavididi on the counter, but he only gets as far as halfway when Luke O'Nien slides in and makes a great challenge.
What a tackle, Luke O'Nien. He was just going past 1 and 2 and 3 Mavididi, and then he hit a brick wall in Luke O'Nien, who timed the tackle perfectly. No malice at all, just won the ball as clean as you like. He's had a good game, and actually he's been used in a very unique way in terms of, for a centre-back to dive out of his position the amount of times he has done, to close down Dewsbury Hall, who is arguably Leicester's most creative player, I think is almost a stroke of genius at times from Moby, but it means his teammates have to then, Ballard and Hume have got to cover when he does that, but he's done it very well so far.
Leicester line up with Hermansen in goal. Well, I'll break off for a minute because the clearance from Sunderland only finds Cesare Cassidy. Now here's Mavididi for Leicester, floats the ball into the area just over the head of Iheanacho, drops for Cassidy, straight to the goalkeeper who blocks it away. Comes out to the right-hand side of the box, and Fatawu to the byline, pulls it back in front of goal, and Sunderland will clear their lines. And yet again, Anthony Patterson in the right place at the right time to keep the score down for Sunderland.
No, he's making up for the mistake there, wasn't it? It was a terrible clearance. Both him and Hermansen have been poor actually with the ball at their feet. Gave the ball away, but I tell you what, he makes up for it as it just lands perfectly for Cassidy as he comes in towards the penalty area, probably 10 yards out. I mean, he's got to score, really. You know, should just cleanly put this past Patterson, but it was close enough to him that he stuck out a right thigh. Great save.
Winks down the right wing for Leicester City. 3 to aim at in the box. He pulls it back. Cassidy, another brilliant save from Patterson, turning it round the post for a corner kick. Cassidy let the ball run across his body and very cleverly guided it to the far post with his left instep. But Anthony Patterson was not to be beaten. Another terrific save from the Sunderland keeper. 1-0 Leicester.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it, from Patterson? Because it's right in the corner. Honestly, this is kissing the inside of the post and going in. He stretches a huge left arm out to put that round the post. That's just outstanding.
But it is a corner kick for Leicester City at the South Stand end, sent in by Dewsbury Hall. A couple of players are going on. There's a bit of afters in there. A couple of players are getting involved with one another. Yannick Vestergaard and Luke O'Nien are the two that are wrestling with one another. And Keith Stroud's got his yellow card out, and he's clearly going to book at least one of those two.
Probably both. It was just a bit silly, to be honest. Both fell to the floor during the corner, and then either someone wasn't letting the other one up. Luke O'Nien, though, that could have been Tyson Fury, and he'd still get involved, wouldn't he? He wouldn't care that it's Yannick Vestergaard, 6'7" of him.
Yeah, normally you'd say don't mess, but Luke O'Nien clearly doesn't deduce what people's heights are. But they were just wrestling with each other. Got a bit unseemly, but a yellow card apiece. Wrexham 1, Sutton 1. Sutton equalised, Aidan O'Brien. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 4. Perry NG for Cardiff. So Darren Moore's got plenty to think about in his early stages as the new Huddersfield manager. So the lineups, I was going through that, wasn't I? Hermansen in goal for Leicester. Ricardo Faes Vestergaard just in the back four, just in the goal scorer tonight, with Leicester leading 1-0. Cassidy, Winks, Dewsbury Hall in midfield. Iheanacho flanked by Fatawu and Mavididi up front. Sunderland, Patterson in goal, as we've mentioned. Back four of Hume, Ballard, O'Nien and Huggins. Neil and Ekwa holding in midfield. Roberts, Bellingham and Clark behind Burstow in attack. 5 minutes gone in the second half. And already plenty of action in this second period. Leicester City leading by a 1-0.
I just wonder how long Maresca might leave it until he introduces Jamie Vardy. The way that Sunderland played with that high line, with Luke O'Nien darting out of position, it's made for Jamie Vardy to run into that space and have the pace to get away from Ballard.
Throw into Sunderland, midway point of the Leicester half on this near side. Huggins sends it infield, and Ekwa will just volley it over to the far right-hand side for Patrick Roberts, who brings it down neatly, faced up by Ricardo. And now he'll have it again, Roberts, out on that far side, again trying to skip away from Ricardo, but he's a clever player, Ricardo Pereira, playing at left-back tonight for Leicester City. Here's Pierre Ekwa, finds Dan Neil, tries to turn at the edge of the area, slides it into Roberts. Roberts lobs it into the box, headed out by Vestergaard, only as far as Ekwa. Shouts of shoot from the Sunderland fans because he likes a long-range effort, does Pierre Ekwa, but doesn't come off for him. And in the end, Wout Faes can guide it back to Mads Hermansson, but he's been closed down by Burstow. Passes out to Justin. Justin with a left-footed ball that Sunderland win back. And then Justin's there again to head it towards the halfway line. But Ballard, under pressure from Iheanacho, turns it back all the way to Anthony Patterson, who will clear right-footed downfield. 52 gone on Talksport 2. As Stockport, the leaders of League 2, take the lead at Crewe. That's third against first. Kyle Wootton, who missed so much of last season through injury, puts Stockport ahead. It's Leicester 1, Sunderland 0, but Wout Faes is down, and I think he's got an injury to his hooter.
He's all right.
No blood.
Just took a whack from Burstow in that aerial challenge.
I think Mike Williamson's going to get his first 3-point haul as MK Don's new manager. They're 3-1 up on Bradford now. Max Dean with the third. And the ball's back with Mads Hermansson, the new Leicester goalkeeper, joined in July from Brøndby in Denmark. He is a Danish youth international, yet to feature for the full Denmark squad. Claims for a foul on Mabadidi, not given, and then Try Hume is penalised for a foul on Shrewsbury Hall, and he gets a yellow card, much to the delight of the locals, who think that the referee's not been on their side, or anybody's side, in this second half. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
I feel like he definitely got a touch on that, but he went right through Shrewsbury Hall before getting to the ball. Nowadays, that's just not allowed. And because of the nature of the tackle and the ferocity that Hume went in with, it amounts to a yellow card.
Grimsby 2, Colchester 3 in League 2. Colchester back in front through Arthur Reed. The managerless Hughes 3-2 up then. Leicester 1-0 up here. 8 minutes gone on Talksport 2 in this second half. Abdul Fatawu offside as he collected a crossfield ball on this near side of the Leicester right, so Sunderland have themselves a free kick inside their own half. Niall Huggins to take it. Welsh fullback, joined a couple of years ago after 12 years on Leeds United's books. Playing at left back tonight, can play at right back as well, Niall Huggins. Leicester have the ball on halfway, right in front of the technical areas. Justin gives it back to Hermansson, the goalkeeper, standing on his 18-yard line. First time clearance downfield, but Dan Ballard's got time to bring that down. Almost gave it away to Iheanacho by taking too many touches, Dean Ashton.
No, he did. He didn't need to either, because Iheanacho wanted nothing to do with that.
And here come Sunderland with Patrick Roberts down the right-hand side of the area. Hits the cross against Ricardo and out for a corner to Sunderland. Arsenal on Talksport are 2-0 up in Spain. Sevilla 0, Arsenal 2. Gabriel Jesus gets the second. Sunderland have the corner in front of those travelling fans in the northeast corner. Taken short by Roberts. Swung in by Hume to the far post. It won't reach 09. Harry Winks should get there first to bring it away down this near side, the Leicester right. Just checks his run before he gets to the halfway line. Lays it off to Justin. Justin with a crossfield pass, but straight to Patrick Roberts, who's got to get past Mavadidi, who's trying to get goal side of him. Roberts hugging the far right-hand touchline. Can't get past Mavadidi, and Mavadidi wins the throw in the end. That's good defending from the Leicester number 10 against the Sunderland number 10.
Yeah, he did well there, didn't he, Mavadidi? Made sure he got back goal side and didn't commit. That's the thing you've got to do against Roberts is make sure you don't just dive in. He's waiting for that to jink past you, and he did it very well.
Chesterfield, the National League leaders, 3-0 up on York City now. Will Griggs on fire. He gets the third for the Spyrites. Space for Cassidy for Leicester in the centre circle. Dewsbury Hall receives it just ahead of him. Moves into the Sunderland half. Out to the right wing, the ball goes the near side to us and Abdul Fatawu. Oh, he's got past Huggins with ease to the dead ball line. Still hasn't put the ball in. Rolls it back to Dewsbury Hall at the right-hand corner of the box. Now Justin has to go back towards the edge of the centre circle and Vestergaard. Harry Winks takes over for the Foxes. Lays it back to the halfway line and Wout Faes. Faes will go back into the centre circle for Vestergaard. Clark comes to close down the space there. This time Huggins gets the header in ahead of Fatawu, but he's outnumbered. 2-on-1 now. James Justin has got Fatawu on his outside. Level with the edge of the area. Down the right-hand side of the box, looking for Justin to win the corner, which he does, off Daniel Ballard. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0, Leicester corner kick.
Yeah, really good play, though, from James Justin this time. Offensively, getting forward, looking to actually underlap Fatawu there. It's a decent pass in behind, and he won the corner, but Fatawu previously done the hard work. It's almost a little bit under 14s-esque, where you beat the man once and then you go back to try and beat them again just to show off. He should have just played that in right-footed.
Corner kick for Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Left-footed in-swinger right under the crossbar and a comfortable claim for Anthony Patterson. 1-0 to Leicester. Don Ballard has equalised for Reading in the League One fixture at 8 o'clock against Fleetwood. That's 1-1. Ball's in the centre circle, collected by Ian Acho. Ball was spinning wickedly, but he did really well and finds Cassidy. Goes back into his own half and finds Harry Winks. Now Dewsbury Hall, fouled by Dan Neil as he tried to turn on the halfway line, Dewsbury Hall. And ironic cheers as Keith Stroud awards the free kick to the home side.
I think he's going to find that, Keenan Dewsbury Hall, this season. He will be a marked man with the quality that he's got, and he's clearly a player that Sunderland have looked at to make sure people have got to get tight to him whenever that ball goes towards him.
Fatawu with what was very nearly a quite sensational ball from this near right-hand touchline to swing it in left-footed into the path of the on-rushing Kelechi Iheanacho, but it got away from him and through to Patterson of the Sunderland goal. Mansfield have a fourth now at Harrogate. Harrogate 0, Mansfield 4. George Maris saying before kick-off how good I thought they were away at Notts County. They've scored 4 again on the road, the Stags. Now Wout Faes inside his own penalty area casually plays the ball out looking for Winks. It goes beyond Winks, but great hold-up play from Iheanacho, and then Cassidy feeds it out to the right-hand side for Abdul Fatawu. Early ball into the edge of the area looking for Iheanacho, but that's a vital touch from Daniel Ballard to keep it away from the man who's got 4 in 4 games before tonight. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
Oh, it was the right idea from Fatawu to play that in early for Iheanacho. Just about got away from Ballard, but as he slid in, he got enough on that to take it away from the Leicester striker. It was really good, quick play from Leicester from their own penalty area.
That's the voice of Dean Ashton, former England striker. You can hear alongside me Ian Danter here at the King Power Stadium. 59 minutes gone. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0. Double bill of Champions League commentaries for you tomorrow night. On Talksport, it's Young Boys against Manchester City at 8. On Talksport 2 at the same time, we bring you Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan in Newcastle's group. Newcastle home to Dortmund tomorrow. That's where Adrian Durham will be hosting the show from. We get underway at 6 with all the build-up here on Talksport 2. And Talksport joins in at 7. Morecambe lead Tranmere by 1-0 in League 2. An own goal. Shrimps 6 unbeaten in all competitions going into that one. And Tranmere having a bit of a wobble under their new management. Sevilla get a goal back against Arsenal in the Champions League. Nemanja Gudelu gets one back. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2. Here comes Sunderland trying to attack down the right-hand side. Roberts trying to get past Faes, but Faes stuck to his task really well as Roberts was motoring down the inside right channel and puts it out for a throw. Kept in play by Tri Hugh. Went down looking for a free kick. Dan Neil, in fact, it was that went down. No free kick awarded by Keith Stroud, and Leicester bring it up to halfway. Cassidy now moving over halfway. Skips away from Ekwa. Options right and left. Goes right for Iheanacho inside the area, trying to bend it round the keeper with his left foot, but didn't get the bend he wanted. Just went straight out of play for a goal kick to Sunderland. On the hour, it's Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
Again, it's a really good quick break from Leicester from their own penalty area. Cassidy has had the beating a couple of times of Ekwa with his pace and that long stride that he has. Gets away. It's a great ball in towards Iheanacho. He'll just be a little bit disappointed, Kelechi Iheanacho, with that first touch. It just meant that the ball was a little bit stuck under his feet. He tried to dig it out with some curl to that far post, and in the end got it a little bit wrong.
Jude Bellingham scored again for Real Madrid. They're 2-0 up at Braga now in the Champions League. You just run out of things to say about that boy.
Ridiculous.
Of course, his kid's out there tonight. Jobe Bellingham, who left Birmingham in the summer to join up with the former technical director at Birmingham, Christian Speakman, who's now in a similar role at Sunderland.
I'd like to see him a bit further forward, actually, Jobe Bellingham. Get a little bit closer to Burstow. Need to get that goal, and that's the risk you could easily take.
Ball ricochets away into the path of Niall Huggins. Clark for Sunderland lays it off to Bellingham in the centre circle, plays it forward. Good run from Patrick Roberts, gets to the edge of the area. He's got past Fass, although he's been closed down. Lays it back to Hume, cross to the far post, goes over the head of Clark. He actually went up for the header, and the ball then deflected up in the air, and he just fell flat on his back, looking a bit daft.
I have to say, though, Patrick Roberts, he's done so many good things in this game, getting into position. It's that final little bit that he's just lacked.
Now Bellingham inside the area, looking to roll James Justin, but Justin's too clever for that and doesn't allow him to do it. And Hermansen, the goalkeeper, picks up the loose ball. 62 gone on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. And we've got EFL action for you coming up at the weekend on game day. A West Yorkshire derby. This should be an absolute cracker. Leeds against Huddersfield. That's a 12:30 kickoff in the Championship as part of game day. Also on game day on Saturday at lunchtime on Talksport, Chelsea against Brentford in a West London derby. And I'll be at the Vitality with Alvin Martin for the 3 o'clock Talksport 2 kickoff on Saturday, Bournemouth against Burnley. Here is Mason Burstow playing the ball out to the Sunderland left for their top scorer Jack Clark into the left-hand corner of the area. He's got support from Bellingham, who would have been offside if he tried to pick that up. So it just goes behind in the end for a goal kick to Leicester as Braga get one back against Real Madrid. Alvaro Jallo makes it Braga 1, Real Madrid 2, and Benfica 0, Real Sociedad 1 in the Champions League. Brais Mendes for Sociedad. Now there's a triple change coming up for Sunderland, and the players coming on are Abdullah Bar, Dennis Sirkin, who's just back from injury, the full-back, and the other player coming on is Chris Rigg. And those coming off include Niall Huggins. Mason Burstow is coming off. And looking to see who the other one is. And Ekwa is the other player being withdrawn. So Chris Rigg comes on, born in Hebburn in the northeast, joined Sunderland at primary school age. He's on, youngest ever goal scorer for the club. He's come on, so too has Dennis Sirkin, born in Dublin but an England youth left back, just back from injury. He's on too. And Abdullah Bar, who did play at the weekend, joined from Le Havre last year, great French footballing academy. Another midfielder. So I'm looking to see, Dean Ashton, what that's done to Sunderland's shape.
I think it's similar. I think
has Clark gone more central? Or?
I think Clark and Rigg will play centrally, probably more as a 2, with Bellingham dropping a little bit deeper. I think alongside Neil, Sirkin in at left back, and certainly Bar Clark coming over to the left.
Certainly Clark looks like he's moved into the centre from the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Chesterfield 4-0 up on York. Will Griggs on fire again. Ball given away by Sunderland. Leicester have it down the left-hand side of the box. Dewsbury Hall pulls it back. Dan Neil flicks it clear. Riggs should be on the scene first to lob it further clear, but it's over the head Patrick Robertson out for a throw. Napoli lead at Union Berlin in the Champions League. Raspadori with the goal for the Italian champions. AFC Wimbledon have got it back to 2-3 at home to Accrington Stanley. Omar Bugia with a couple of goals. Harrogate 1, Mansfield 4. And a hat-trick for Matt Smith. The Salford go 3-0 up at Doncaster in League 2. Here in the Championship, on your home of the EFL, Leicester looking to go 8 points clear at the top of the Championship. Are a goal up on Sunderland with 25 minutes to go. But here is Dennis Sirkin back in the side, playing it out to the left-hand side, and Abdullah Barr driving for the byline, fires it into the near post, but a comfortable save low down for Mads Hermansen. And Jamie Vardy's getting ready to come on for Leicester City, I notice.
Well, I think with Sunderland pressing for that equaliser, there is going to be space on the counter-attack that I talked about for Jamie Vardy.
A round of applause you can hear on 66 minutes is for Bobby Charlton. 66, of course, the year that England triumphed in the World Cup. As Mavididi gets away down the left-hand side for Leicester and finds Ricardo. Ricardo's deep ball to the far post, brought down on the chest by Fatawu. Iheanacho with his back to goal, but Sunderland get the ball clear, and Jack Clark will hold it up. He's being pulled back there by James Justin. That's a free kick for Sunderland, and probably a yellow card for James Justin if he's not careful, as the applause continues to ring around the King Power, quite rightly, for the greatest English player who ever lived.
Yeah, I think any football ground in the country will pay its respects for such an incredible footballer.
Barnsley 3, Shrewsbury 0. Devante Cole now has 10 for the season in League One. And the change you might expect, if Jamie Vardy's coming on, that probably means that Iheanacho's going off, or vice versa. And it's exactly that. Jamie Vardy then, and you heard Dean Ashton mention in the first half that there could be things for Jamie Vardy to exploit, particularly with Sunderland chasing the game, a goal down in the last quarter of the game now.
Well, he prefers as well to run into that left channel, which Luke O'Nien might vacate if he goes in tight on Dewsbury Hall. That's where that space will be for Jamie Vardy.
Derby 2, Exeter 0 in League One. Connor Washington and Watford lead at Swansea up in the Championship. Ken Semmer, the Swedish midfielder, got their first win in 6 against Sheffield Wednesday. And Wigan 2, Oxford 0. That is something of a surprise, that scoreline. Wigan starting the night in 21st against second-placed Oxford, Callum Lang. And Bristol Rovers equalise against Stevenage. Chris Martin makes it 1-1 at the Mem. Here at the King Power, 1-0 to Leicester City if you're just tuning into EFL Live here on your home of the EFL. Dewsbury Hall looks to find Ricardo Pereira, but it was just one back by Tri Hume, but he can only toe poke it out of play for a throw to be taken by Steffi Mavididi. So Champions League tomorrow night, Young Boys against Manchester City on Talksport. Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan on Talksport 2. I'll be doing that game with Danny Mills alongside me. And then West Ham in the Europa League on Thursday against Olympiacos. That's a 5:45 kickoff live on Talksport 2. As Dewsbury Hall look to get a shove in the back from Chris Rigg, but the referee Keith Stroud wave play on. Dewsbury Hall gets to his feet and finds Winks. Gives it back to Dewsbury Hall. Ball ricochets into the path of Cassidy. Vardy's first involvement is to give the ball away, but then he wins it back tigerishly from Dan Ballard and lets Fatawu run away down this near side, the Leicester right. Faced up by Sirkin, he's gone round him like he's not there. Goes down under pressure, and that's a free kick right outside the area. Very, very close to being a spot kick. But Keith Stroud said the offence started outside the penalty area, right down by the dead ball line on the right-hand side. Free kick to Leicester, who are 1-0 up.
Yeah, I do feel like that is the right decision. He just steps away and Circuit grabs the shirt with Fatawu and pulls it, and then as Fatawu gets into the box, that's when he goes to ground. Correct decision, though.
So Dewsbury Hall going to be the man to take it. It's like a short corner in hockey, this. It's right along the dead ball line on this near side to us, the Leicester right, as they're attacking the south stand in this second half. Only a one-man wall stationed in front of him. That's Patrick Roberts. And Barr just watching at the edge of the 6-yard box. Vestergaard and Fass both up from the back. Fass deep at the far post. Vestergaard nearer the penalty spot. Referee blows his whistle and Dewsbury Hall looks for his target. Plays it low into the near post. He was looking for James Justin again, and it was put behind for a corner kick to Leicester with 20 minutes to go. 1-0 to the Foxes.
Yeah, just tried something different, didn't he, Dewsbury Hall? Everyone at the back post looking to play it high, and then plays it low in towards James Justin, who is clearly the top man when it comes to set plays.
So Dewsbury Hall will have this corner onto the 6-yard line. Strong header cleared by Ballard at the back for Sunderland, but Ricardo picks up the loose ball. Diagonal ball back into the box. Justin drives it back to Cassidy, who smacked it goalwards, but it was blocked by Rigg, and away comes Sunderland on the counter-attack. Oh, turned by Roberts, and he was pulled back by Ricardo. That'll be a yellow card for the offence by the Leicester fullback right on halfway. Free kick to Sunderland. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0. It's West Brom 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. It's about an hour gone there in what was a slightly delayed kickoff. A penalty from Brandon Thomas Asante, putting West Brom ahead at the Hawthorns. And Wickham 2, Bolton 2. Wickham have come back. David Wheeler making it 2-2 at Adams Park against high-flying Bolton. That's 8 against 4th in that division tonight. In fact, Jimmy Dunn's been given a second yellow card for QPR before that penalty. 2 lemons make a strawberry. He's gone. So QPR down to 10 men, as well as being a goal down. Here's Joe Bellingham. So nearly call him Jude then, because he looks so much like him. Well, he would do. Floated out to the right-hand side. And Patrick Roberts finds Tri Hume. Oh, that's a lovely reverse ball to allow Roberts to run back onto it. Takes it through the legs of Fast. Still going Roberts. Can he pull it back across the face of goal? No, it's deflected off him for a goal kick. He thinks it's a corner. He got too close to Mads Hermansen in the end, really. He'd done so well to nutmeg Fast just inside the area, but by the time he was ready to either unleash a cross or a shot, the goalkeeper was right on top of him. And it's still 1-0 to Leicester.
But that's why he's been so frustrating, Roberts, because he does all that really difficult work of playing the combination, getting past someone like Wout Fast, and then he takes a heavy touch when really all it needed was a nice touch to then just lay it into the path of one of his strikers to tap home, and he couldn't. He's been very frustrating to watch, Patrick Roberts.
Now Mavididi goes down and doesn't get a free kick awarded to him by Keith Stroud. Ball's out of play for a throw. How about this? Manchester United 1, FC Copenhagen 0. Harry Maguire, with just less than 20 minutes to go at Old Trafford on what must be a very, very emotional night for all Manchester United supporters. But Harry Maguire has given them the lead. Now, Alex Pritchard, another little midfield schemer, is coming on for Joe Bellingham for the last, quarter of an hour plus, as Stockport double their lead at Crewe Alexandra. Isaac Olafe makes it 10 goals for the season. A lot of players hitting double digits this evening around the EFL. Isaac Olafe making it Crewe 0, Stockport 2. So the leaders consolidating their position at the top. Free kick to Leicester. And ironic cheers again from the locals for that decision from Keith Stroud.
I just wonder, the chances Leicester have had, they've been much better in the second half. Well, that will come back to haunt them because they've had the chances.
Here's Fatu, who played the ball into the box looking for Dewsbury Hall, but Ballard headed it clear. Bolton are back in front at Wickham, 3-2. Owen Toyle with the third goal for Bolton. Down the left-hand side, Mavididi tries to drive it in, comes back to him off Tri Hume. He's down by the corner flag. He rolls it back 20 yards to Wout Fass. A diagonal ball into the box. Comfortable claim by Anthony Patterson. Needs an option. He wants an option. He's calling for somebody to bowl it out to. Gives it to Jack Clark, who's come short midway point of his own half. Almost gets dispossessed, but in the end plays a neat 1-2 with Dan Neal, and it goes out to Patrick Roberts, still scheming away on that right-hand side. Rigg now for Sunderland. Finds Roberts out to the right-hand side, and it's slid out of play by Ricardo. And Dean Ashton, you're dead right. quarter of an hour to go. It is still only 1-0 to Leicester City.
It is, and to be fair to Tony Mowbray, he's made the substitutions. He's been aggressive in those substitutions, with only really Dan Neil as a even defensive-minded midfielder, and he's not really that anyway. They're giving it a real good go. And Leicester, you just feel those chances they've had. They've been the better team in the second half. It'd just be typically Championship, wouldn't it?
Here is Dan Neil looking to release Dennis Serkin down the left-hand side of the area. Pulls the ball back, just gets away with Wout Faes getting the vital touch ahead of Rigg. Drops for Patrick Roberts, right-hand corner of the box, but back comes Dewsbury Hall. Given away, though, to Try Hume, who hits the ball against Mavididi and wins a throw-in for Sunderland. Trying to turn the screw here. Walsall lead Crawley in League 2. Danny Johnson with the goal at the Banksy Stadium. The Poundland Stadium, I should say, is now, of course, they've changed, haven't they? Blackpool 3, Cheltenham 2. Cheltenham aren't done at Bloomfield Road. Will Goodwin gets it back. And Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 2. What a run Middlesbrough are on. Samuel Silvera with a second goal at Carrow Road for Borough. Another chastening night at home for David Wagner, Dean Ashton, your old club.
Yeah, the atmosphere won't be good at the end of that game, I can assure you.
Here's Patrick Roberts for Sunderland. Down the right-hand side, playing a 1-2 with Hugh. Can he get it before the byline? No, just ran out of room. He has tried and tried and tried all night, Patrick Roberts. He has not given up by any stretch, nor of Sunderland, but they've only got 13 minutes plus added time to do something about this scoreline. Otherwise, Leicester are going 8 points clear at the top.
Yeah, he's put the energy in, hasn't he, Roberts? All the right ideas without the execution. For me, if I'm a forward, he would have frustrated me with the opportunities he's had to play players in. But that ball just earlier from Serkin absolutely reeks of not having a centre forward.
Yeah.
That just needed tapping in, didn't it, on the 6-yard line? And Pritchard was late, and Rigg was late into the penalty area.
Here is Rigg, laying it off to Hume. Early ball again. Patrick Roberts, once again for Sunderland, into the area, right-hand side. Lays it off to Dan Neil. Dan Neil, oh, he tried to lift it from 25 yards out and punches the turf in frustration because he got right underneath it, and it sailed harmlessly over the crossbar for a Leicester City goal kick. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0. Wickham 2, Bolton 4. Bolton looked to have sealed the points with an Aaron Morley penalty. Carlisle lead Burton. They're 2-1 up on Burton. Joe Garner late on at Brunton Park. AFC Wimbledon 2, Accrington Stanley 4. Brad Hills gets Stanley's 4th. And Wrexham 2-1 up on Sutton United. Elliot Lee with his 9th of the season for Wrexham. Ball cleared away for Sunderland by Patterson, who's made, by my reckoning, 4 top-class saves in this game.
Absolutely. 2 of them just ridiculous, aren't they? The one from Iheanacho and one from Cassidy has been just brilliant.
Now down the left-hand side, Dan Neil profits from a slip from Winks. Oh, he tried to bend it into the far corner. And his second shot in a matter of seconds, Dan Neil, goes horribly away from the target. This time it dribbled wide along the deck. As Leicester elect to make another change, and they're bringing on Mark Albrighton for Abdel Fattah. Such a reliable squad member. Probably the best free transfer Leicester City have ever had. Mark Albrighton.
I would say so. I mean,
came from Villa, ended up being a title winner.
Yeah, incredible servant.
And an important part of that title winning squad.
And still got a lot to offer as well. I think, especially in these situations where you want to see a game out, the opposition have thrown on substitutions, attacking substitutions, and he can certainly do that defensive work alongside the attacking.
Just over 10 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Leicester still 1 goal to the good against Sunderland. But Sunderland have made a number of changes and have been asking just a few questions in the last few minutes. Can Leicester hang on to make it 8 league wins in a row? But here comes Patrick Roberts again for Sunderland. Up to the edge of the area. Tries to nutmeg Harry Winks, who takes it off him and launches a counter-attack for Leicester. Dewsbury Hall on halfway, picks it up now. Vardy calling for it through the middle. Diagonal ball goes beyond Vardy, looking for Albrighton, but Dennis Serkin at left back for Sunderland tidies up. Abdullah Bar then wins a throw off Albrighton, and a chance for Sunderland to clear. Crawley equalised at Walsall, deep into added time. Danilo Orsi makes it Walsall 1, Crawley 1, and West Brom have doubled their lead against QPR at the Hawthorns. Grady Diangana makes it West Brom 2, QPR 0. You're listening to Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Sunderland coming forward again, raking pass out to this left-hand side for Abdullah Bar. Bar into the area, left-hand side, couple of step-overs, thinks about playing it across, lays it back to the edge of the area. Sirkin goes for goal and lifts it over the bar, just couldn't keep it down. Worth the effort from Dennis Sirkin, but it ends up being a goal kick. But there are questions being asked of Leicester at the back. They're not safe yet to make it 8 wins in a row.
Oh, they're not, because Sunderland have been very good in the whole game. They've really, really impressed me with the way that they've kept going. They've kept playing that football. Time and time again, they've got into good positions. It is just that little lack of quality or decision-making that's let them down.
Smacked downfield by Hermansen, but Mavididi couldn't get clear of 09. He turned to the referee and said, I was being held. And the referee wanted nothing to do with it.
The referee probably said, did you not learn from the first half that once he's got hold of you, he's too strong for you? Yeah. And again, Luca and I just read the flight of the ball and put his body in the way.
A few full times coming in. Bristol Rovers and Stevenage have drawn 1 apiece in League One. Walsall and Crawley has finished 1-1 in League Two. Mavididi for Leicester, who lead by a goal to 0 here on Talksport 2. It's worked back to Ricardo. And now Winks, 8 minutes to go. It's interesting to see what Leicester do at this point in terms of how they approach it, how forward-thinking they are, Dean Ashton, because they've known pretty much nothing else other than being on the front foot. But I can't think of many games where they've been having to protect a 1-goal lead.
No, but defensively they have been outstanding, haven't they? Only conceding 7 goals.
Here's Abdullah Bar finding Jack Clark. Clark up to the edge of the area, trying to slip it through for Pritchard. Pritchard gets a touch. Abdullah Bar lifts it over the bar. Massive chance for a tight angle for Abdullah Bar, as Alex Pritchard got in front of Hermansen, the goalkeeper, in the 6-yard box. Just toe poked it to the left-hand side for Abdullah Bar, but he lifted his effort woefully over the crossbar. Another chance goes begging for Sunderland. Leicester still 1 up.
Well, it was him who started the move. Bar coming in off that left-hand side, combining with Jack Clark. Eventually got a little bit messy in the penalty area. Pritchard read the loose pass. Hermansen couldn't commit, and then as it fell for Bar, all he had to do was make sure he kept his head over it, kept it low. He couldn't do either of those things, and over it went. Really poor finish.
Neil looking to release Bar once again down this left-hand side for Sunderland. Flicks it infield away from Justin, but Leicester win it back. Justin's ball will drift out of play. Enzo Maresca, the Leicester manager, just lays it off. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2. Jonathan Rowe in the 99th minute gets a goal back for Norwich. Maybe too little too late. MK Dons 4, Bradford City 1, Alex Gilby. Derby have beaten Exeter by 2-0 in League One. Watford have beaten Swansea by a 1-0. Wrexham 2-1 winners against Sutton. And Salford with that Matt Smith hat-trick, 3-0 winners at Doncaster. Jack Clark and Dennis Sirkin trying to combine for Sunderland, but Sirkin dispossessed by Cassidy. Now Albrighton looking for a diagonal ball to release Vardy over the top. Nearly came off, but 09 was wise to it. Pritchard on halfway, lovely reverse ball infield to allow Dan Neil to run onto it. Abdullah Bar is offside as he picked up the ball left-hand side of the box, and Dean Ashton had his flag up before the assistant did.
It is because, I mean, we've got a great view, obviously, from up high, and you could just see that he'd gone too early. It was a great run, it was there to be had, and Justin just goes, well, if you're going to go that early, I'll just step up. Again, got to be better there. Time the run, arch the run. Instead, it was just straight without really getting that head up to see.
Hermansen clears for Leicester from the edge of his own penalty area, but it goes straight out of play on the full. So it's a little nervous with 5 minutes to go.
It's too nervous, really. They should have more control of the ball, considering the players they've still got on the pitch, Leicester.
Blackpool have beaten Cheltenham 3-2. Morecambe have beaten Tranmere by a 1-0. Chesterfield, the National League leaders, 4-0 winners over York City. That's confirmed. Crewe 0, Stockport 2. Stockport, the League 2 leaders, win again. Ball's out of play, and it'll be a Leicester City throw. James Justin just inside the Sunderland half on this near side, the right. Albrighton runs in field looking for a chance to receive the throw. Gets it from Justin and then sprints down the right-hand side. Can't keep it in play as he whipped across in. And Sunderland will take a throw in very quickly using the multi-ball system. Dennis Sirkin picks one up off a cone right next to where Albrighton took the ball out of play. And Abdullah Bar can't win a header just shy of halfway, but he will get there. Or there was a foul, an arm in the face of James Justin as Bar and Justin went for the same ball. It was accidental, I think, from Abdullah Bar, and I think that's what the referee's telling some of the Leicester players who might be assuming it's something a bit more malicious on the part of Abdullah Bar. But a knock to the face of James Justin means he's going to need treatment. Or bang on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a natural movement to get your body across, to try and get yourself just in front of the ball. And as he does that, he catches James Justin, like you said, on the nose. There's a bit of blood there, and probably a little surprised there wasn't a yellow card if the referee's seen that, because nowadays, once your arms are up and across and you clash, tend to get a yellow card.
I don't know whether that he's been a bit more lenient because Justin wasn't quite at his full height. He was crouched. He was crouched a little bit, so there might have been something in that. Cardiff 4-0 winners at Huddersfield. That's a big win for Umar Bullock, the new manager of Cardiff City. Northampton 2, Leyton Orient 2. That's finished in League One. Barnsley 3-0 winners against Shrewsbury, also in League One. Aldershot 4, Maidenhead 2 in the National League. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2 is now a full-time score. So is Wigan 2, Oxford 0 in League One. I'm pleased to say James Justin's back on his feet, but he's having to go off. And that means they're going to make a change, Leicester. They're going to bring on Patson Daka and Hamza Chowdhury. So Justin's going straight to the changing room, presumably to get stitches. So Hamza Chowdhury's going to come on for him and go into a right-back position. And Patson Daka is also going to be introduced, and he's going to come on for Steffi Mabadidi on the Leicester left-hand side as we edge closer towards what will be a fairly sizable chunk of added time, I think, here at the King Power on Talksport 2. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
I think so, but I think if Leicester do get through this game, I think it shows another side to Leicester already this season, that they haven't been at their best, they haven't taken their chances, but they've been able to get through a tricky game against an opposition that's been very, very good. And I think it's ominous signs then for the rest of the league that they can win games such as this.
Win ugly, as they say. In towards the last minute of normal time, Sunderland have a foul as Rigg is brought down inside the centre circle, and they get on with it. 09 finds Clark and then Pritchard.
They just don't have the players, Sunderland, in the areas you need to score goals.
Yeah.
There's lots of players neat and tidy in the middle. When it gets to that top end of the pitch, not enough Sunderland players getting in the box where it really counts.
09 under pressure to clear, and Sunderland win a throw in the end as Dan Neil hits it against Albrighton, and its ball's gone out right into the Leicester technical area, but Enzo Maresca gives it back to the Sunderland left back Dennis Sirkin. He throws it back down the line towards his own penalty area. Ballard goes back for Anthony Patterson. Collected by Luke 09 at the edge of his own area. Clark has come short to receive the ball, but 09 goes out to the right-hand side instead. Now Patrick Roberts tucks it in field. Little touch from Try Hume. Sunderland trying everything they can. Mabadidi just getting some applause. We're into 5 minutes of minimum stoppage time at the end of the game. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0. And Chowdhury wins the throw for Leicester by hitting the ball against Abdullah Bar down this near side. And we're into that 5 minutes of minimum stoppage time right now on Talksport 2. Barnet equalise in the 97th minute to earn a 1-1 draw with Solihull Moors in the National League. That's second against third in that division tonight. 1-1 it finishes at the Hive. 1-0 it is here at the King Power. One or two Leicester fans deciding that they're happy, they've seen enough and are heading for the exits, but this game is not quite one yet.
I think again, Tony Mowbray will look at this game, if it is to finish 1-0 to Leicester, and think, if only I could just get one of the forwards I've got, albeit they're young, can I get one of those playing regularly, scoring, being a threat? And it would give them a hell of a chance to be really competitive this season.
Sirkin brought down by Vardy as he charged down the Sunderland left, just past our commentary position down beneath us. Free kick to the Black Cats, taken quickly by Clark, rolls it backwards to square to Dan Neil. Everybody inside the Leicester half of the field apart from the Sunderland keeper Patterson. It's with Patrick Roberts over on the far side, the Sunderland right. Gives it back to 09 with Neil next to him, just inside his own half. Rise the challenge of Vardy, goes to ground to keep it away from Dewsbury Hall. Might break for Vardy on this near touch line. Good tenacious work from Jamie Vardy to win it back, but he's heading for the corner flag. He's not necessarily going to put the ball into the box, and it's out of play, and Sunderland have a throw as he just couldn't keep it in play. There was a bit of shove on him by Chris Rigg, though.
I thought that was a bit silly, really, to take that free kick quickly, where they'd got that Sunderland, and in the end he went all the way back to their centre-backs 09, who didn't really have an option then because Ballard had gone forwards for the free kick. Just those tiny details that can make the difference sometimes.
2 minutes of the minimum 5 have gone. Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0 on Talksport 2. The delay is for a little bit of a knock for Dan Neil, who's got back to his feet, just running off a foot injury of some kind. And we can now get back underway with this throw-in. And Neil's come short to Sirkin, but he plays the ball in field straight to Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Albrighton is fouled by Sirkin on this near side, so Leicester have a free kick to eat up a few more seconds. 3 minutes of added time gone. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0.
Some experienced heads. Jamie Vardy taking it into the corner. Albrighton there, pretty much winning the free kick. Just time ticking away.
And Dan Neil is being taken off by Tony Mowbray, and coming on to replace him is Luis Semedo, 20 years of age, a Benfica youth. He never made any senior appearances for the Portuguese, hasn't scored yet, joined in June. He has played in the UEFA Youth League, so he's on for these last 90 seconds or so, plus whatever Keith Stroud wants to add on, because despite the fact 5 minutes were added on, there have been a couple of delays in the added period. Ball's out of play. Sunderland have a throw, but they're running out of time if they want a point out of this game. 1-0 to Leicester. Sirkin with a throw, level with the edge of his own penalty area. Lobs it in left-hand side. One back by Cassidy. Dewsbury Hall looks for Vardy inside the area, but overhits the pass, and Patterson can claim.
Collector's item that. Dewsbury Hall with a simple pass, just overhit. Jamie Vardy acknowledging that was the chance.
Patterson looks for Semedo. It's headed away by Yannick Vestergaard. Volleyed in field, and Mark Albrighton just clips it over halfway for Jamie Vardy, who just slows the game down for a moment. In that 5th minute of added time, lovely skill from Jamie Vardy. Lays it off to Ricardo. Is told to get up. Is he? No, a free kick awarded eventually by Keith Stroud. Very deliberately thought about the decision before awarding the free kick to Leicester.
They've done well.
It was Daka actually that went down.
Yeah, they've done well though, Leicester, haven't they? In the 5 minutes, they've not really let Sunderland have even one attack.
It's going bad to worse for Reading. Reading won Fleetwood 2. Josh Vella might have won it for Fleetwood in stoppage time at the Select Car Leasing. Real Madrid 2-1 winners in the Champions League at Braga. Leicester 1-0 up in the last knockings here in the Championship. Wout Faes collects the ball and volleys it over halfway, helped on by Dewsbury Hall. The 5 minutes are up, so it's down to Keith Stroud. How much more he will add on. Patterson smacks them all downfield for Sunderland. Semedo won't get the header. It's headed away by Vestergaard. Rigg finds Hume. Hume brings it down and will hit a diagonal ball infield from the halfway line up to the edge of the area. Semedo again gets no change out of Vestergaard. Poor clearance from Dewsbury Hall. Sunderland aren't quite done yet. Alex Pritchard just ahead of the centre circle. Poor ball. Could only find Mark Albright, but Albright loses out to Pritchard. The full-time whistle goes. 8 league wins in a row for Leicester City. They're going 8 points clear at the top of the Championship. And they're finding different ways to win games. This was not a rout, although they had plenty of chances to score more than the one that they did. Coming early in the piece through a James Justin header from Dewsbury Hall's corner. But it has to be said that Anthony Patterson and the Sunderland goal was quite superb in preventing Leicester from extending their lead. I reckon 4 high-class saves from the Sunderland keeper prevented it from being worse for Tony Mowbray's men, who've now suffered 3 defeats in a row. But it's all coming up roses for Leicester City. 8 points clear at the top, 8 league wins in a row, and they have another 3-point haul here. Leicester 1, Sunderland 0, Dean Ashton.
I mean, look, Sunderland will entertain a lot of people this season, as they did last season as well, and they'll get results. But tonight, I just thought that experience that Leicester had in their ranks was the different side to Enzo Maresca's Leicester City tonight. They weren't at their best. They still created good chances. Patterson had to be at his very best a couple of times. But then I thought that second half they had more control, Leicester, and especially the last 10 minutes when it looked like Sunderland might start to creep in and have chances. They just shut the door and bolted it. Very, very good. Good experience from their players in their squad and substitutions that came on. They are going to be some team to stop Leicester this season.
It wouldn't be unfair to give the Man of the Match award to Anthony Patterson, though, would it?
It wouldn't, for the saves that he made and the quality of those saves. I think the rest of the game was very even. You know, when you look down the stats of possession and opportunities, pretty even. But Patterson had to work harder than most. A couple of those saves were just, out of this world, and sometimes goalkeepers don't get that credit that they deserve, because he kept Sunderland in it right till the end.
Any positives for Sunderland? I mean, we mentioned the lack of a focal point up front. If they have that, they can find somebody that can hold play up and be a fulcrum. Then they could be cooking on gas, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got centre forwards at the club. It's just Semedo, whether it's Rigg who came on, whether it's Burstow, I know Mayenda as well, they've got big hopes for. One of them has to step forward and be a genuine threat at this level. If they get that, the rest of the play, so impressive. Really, really impressive with the interchanging of positions and the quality that they showed and the bravery on the ball. Again, they'll give problems to a lot of teams, but they're up against a titan in the Championship already this season in Leicester.
They are looking irresistible at times, Leicester City, but they're finding different ways to win football matches. They've certainly done that tonight, but they've got the all-important 3 points to extend their lead at the top to 8 points over the chasing pack. Dean Ashton, thank you as always.
Pleasure.
For being part of the Talksport 2 team tonight. Got a double bill of Champions League football for you tomorrow across our network. We get underway at 6 p.m. Adrian Durham hosting the show from St James Park, where Newcastle are playing Dortmund. But our commentary games from the Champions League on Talksport at 8, it's Young Boys against Manchester City. Here on Talksport 2, Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan in Newcastle's group. Up next on Talksport 2, Neil Manthorpe and Steve Harmison pick the bones out of England's awful performance in the Cricket World Cup. The Cricket Collective is up next, so stay tuned for that. But the final score here at a jubilant King Power Stadium is Leicester City 1, Sunderland 0.
EFL Live on Talksport 2.